Hey everyone, Amber here with Hip Kit Club today to share with you a super cute project I created using the November kits. So before I dive into explaining what we are making and how to make it, I want to apologize for the terrible lighting of this video. Unfortunately, the lights I used to film, one of them broke, so I can't use them at the moment. And now that it is finally getting colder here in California, it is darker outside, so I kind of had to make do with what I was able to use, which was some natural light. I know that this video is super shadowy, but hopefully you can look past it because this project is super cute. I'm so happy with how it came out in the end, and I am super excited to share it with you guys. So that said, today's project is a trio of mini albums. So I made 3 teeny tiny mini albums. They measure 3 inches by 3 inches with a 1.5-inch spine. And I made the first 2 off camera just because it's the same process for all 3. And I felt like showing the same process 3 times would be kind of overdoing it. So I am just showing you how I've made the third one here. So I am beginning by wrapping my chipboard. I'm using medium weight chipboard. I believe the brand is Graphics. I will also list all of the measurements down below for the chipboard, the paper, and everything. So if you want to make an album like this or 3, then you can follow along easier. So to wrap all of my albums, I used this super pretty black and white plaid paper. I think it was my favorite paper from all of the papers in the November kit. It's just super pretty, and I think plaid works great for the holiday season. So I decided to use that as a base for all 3 of my albums. So to line the albums, I'm going to be using a very subtle holly berry paper. I thought that would be really nice as the lining of my albums. So I'm just finishing up wrapping my chipboard here, and then I'm going to take the whole album base as well as the inner lining, and I'm going to add some stitching around both of them. So if you use your sewing machine to stitch the chipboard base, just go slow. Take your time because chipboard is very thick, so just take your time. It works out fine as long as you do that. So now for the lining of the album. I have had incidents in the past where I am lining an album and I haven't used enough adhesive or the right kind of adhesive, and I get air bubbles when I go to fold up on those fold lines, and that can be really frustrating after putting so much work into it. So I have found that just using a ton of super strong adhesive works great, for me at least. So I am using some 1/2-inch super sticky double-sided tape, and I just covered pretty much the entirety of the back of the lining of my album with it, and now I'm just going to add that to the base of my mini album and then use my scoring tool to smooth everything out and just work the adhesive down so that it's super smooth and adhered, and there's not going to be any chance for any air bubbles to be in there. And once I've done that, I'm going to fold up on my fold lines. I like to use my scoring tool to help me find them, and then I am going to move on to working on the spine. So I made the 3 albums so that when they were all stood up next to each other, the spines would spell out the word joy. And I think that's super cute and festive for the holiday season, which is why I wanted to do it. So I am going to add the Y alpha sticker here. And I also added an eyelet to the top of the spine there. You can see it's a little bit off-centered, but you can't tell once the tassel's on. So I'm just adding a cute paper tassel I created with my Cricut machine. And then I'm going to add some gold stitching over that Y sticker so it doesn't come off, and it also adds a nice texture to the project. So now I'm going to be working on the pages. So for the pages, I'm taking 2 pieces of paper that measure 2.5 inches by 12 inches, and then I'm scoring them at 2.5-inch intervals until I can't anymore. And then I'm going to eventually cut off those smaller pieces that are not squares because I don't need those. And I am folding my pages accordion style because that is how I wanted this album to go. I think it's super fun and interactive, and I love making accordion mini albums. So you can see I just cut off those smaller pieces, and when I folded my pages, I folded them opposite of each other so that when I adhere them together, one whole side of the album pages will be that snowflake pattern and the other side will be the red plaid. So hopefully that makes sense. But to adhere them together, I'm creating a pocket that I can add tags or photos or little mementos to later on. And I'm just using some 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape to adhere that together. And then I am going to adhere it to the album base itself with some of that 1/2 inch double-sided tape. So I'm just adding that to the back. And then I'm going to center it as best I can in the middle of the base of my album and just secure it down. And from there, the base of the album is complete and it's just time to decorate. So to start the whole embellishing process, I am starting with the cover. So as the background piece, I used a wreath chipboard that came on the chipboard sticker sheet. And to dress it up and brighten it up a bit, I am adding some florals to one side. So I'm just hot gluing those into place. And I'm also going to add this puffy holly sticker as well, just to give a bit more texture. And I also added this plaid bow. I wish I had gone with a different pattern of bow, just because I use black and white plaid as the base of my album, and then the black and white plaid bow kind of blends in, but I think in the end it works out. So as a big statement piece on the cover of my album, I used this super cute scooter chipboard piece that has a little present on the back. I think it's super fun, and with all of the 3 albums that I made, I wanted the covers to really pop and stand out and be super bright and fun. So I think that works really well for this album. And just to cover up that little empty space there on the end bit, I'm going to add this little flower. And that is the cover of my album done. And now it's time to start working on the pages. So for the cover page, if you will, I am starting by creating 2 tabs. I just used my We Are Memory Keepers tab punch for this. And I just punched 2 of them out. And then I adhered the top so that I could just slip it on to the page itself. Later, I will add some stitching off camera just to adhere that tab in place, and it's not going to go anywhere. And also, again, the stitching just adds texture and it's super cute and fun. And I'm also going to be adding some stitching across all of these little embellishing pieces as well, just to, again, add texture. I love adding texture wherever I can. So I thought that this little mouse holding the treat was super, super cute. I just layered up some florals behind it. And once I add the stitching, I am going to add that wood veneer holly piece to the tab of this page. I did that for all 3 of my albums, and I think that it just looks really cute and makes the tab part a bit more sturdy. And now that the cover page is done, I'm going to work on decorating some other pages. So for all 3 of my albums, I went in a pattern of embellishing a page and then leaving a space for a photo, and then embellishing a page and leaving a space for a photo. I just think that breaking up the embellishments and the photos adds a nice flow to the albums. Sometimes if you have too much of the same thing in one spot, it gets a bit clunky, and I think that just creating a pattern makes everything look nicer. So here on this page, I am adding all different kinds of trees. 2 are paper and 1 is chipboard. I just layered those up, and then I'm adding this super cute red and white striped bow on top. Then I am moving on to the other 2 pages I will be decorating for this part. So again, just layering up all different elements. So in the November kits, you got acetate, chipboard, puffy stickers, paper ephemera, the fabric bows. So I just took bits from all of those to embellish these pages. So for this one, I am using the super cute snow globe, which I thought was so adorable. And then I'm going to use some foam tape to prop up this piece of holly. Using the foam tape just adds a bit more dimension to the page so it doesn't look as flat. And then I'm going to layer up some stars. So I layer up this red one and then this yellowish green one. And then I'm going to go in with some phrase stickers. So the first one says, "What a memorable night," which I think will be perfect for documenting Christmas Eve. And then the next one says, "So cheerful." So in all the empty spaces will go photos. So now I am flipping over to the other side so that I can start embellishing those pages as well. Unfortunately, my camera shut off while I was filming these, so you get to see me glue one piece down and that's it. But don't worry, I do include a flip through of the completed album at the end here, which is right here. So this is how this album came out. I will include still photos of this album as well as the other two at the end of the video so that you can just see close up details of all three of the albums. So there are the other couple of pages that I decorated, and you will get a brief little top-down view of the other two albums here. And sometimes when you make chipboard mini albums, you might find that there is tension between the chipboard and the papers, so the albums want to spring open, like you can see here, which obviously we don't want. We don't want to display them like that. So to keep them closed, I am going to take some red and white twine from my stash and just wrap it around each album about 3 or 4 times and then tie it off in a bow. And after the albums sit like this for the holiday season until you pick them up again, it's going to help them hold their shape in the long run. So you don't always have to use this as a closure. But that is basically my little trio of mini albums. In a second, the photos will pop up. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Hip Kit Club today, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and this project. Again, sorry for the bad lighting. Hopefully the next video will be better. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you with my next project for Hip Kit Club. Take care and happy crafting. Bye.